Hi, folks. I'm Father Joe Grimaldi. You can call me Joe, and I'd like to welcome you to my podcast. But now, here's our host and friend, Ken Calvert.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ken Calvert alongside my good friend, Father Joe Grimaldi, and we would like to welcome you to the Father Joe Grimaldi podcast. My good friends, I have some great news for you. Star Lincoln introduces Shop Star Express. Swift, safe, and simple. Doing what we can, where we can. That's the Star Lincoln way. Go to starlincoln.com, browse Star's inventory online, order your vehicle from your home, and Star Lincoln takes care of the rest, including incredible financing deals going on right now. Then, Star Lincoln will deliver your new Lincoln right to your front door. Fully sanitized, it's that simple, so go online, starlincoln.com, check out the incredible lineup of Lincoln vehicles: the Navigator, the Corsair, the Nautilus, the Aviator, the MKC, and the Continental. Our service department body shop remains open between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday to serve your essential needs. Please call 248-354-4900 to schedule your appointment. Yes, your sanctuary awaits. Stars offering peace of mind and flexibility to their customers during these challenging times. Simply go to starlincoln.com. That's starlincoln.com. Father Joe Grimaldi, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you doing, Ken?
I'm better than the average bear. Boo-boo, thank you for asking. Yes. Got a phone call from a friend of mine yesterday. I was telling you at the beginning of this podcast that my throat is really kind of, my voice is thinner. My voice is thinner and my throat is a little sore. And I realized yesterday it's because between podcasts and talking on the phone so much during the day that my vocal cords are just flat out like, whoa, we've been in the gym all day, Ken. Let us rest for a while. You talk too much. This refers back to this phone call I got yesterday from a friend of mine who left a message and said, hope you're well. We're doing great here. Everything is really good. Everybody in our particular orbit is healthy and fine. In fact, in a way, I feel guilty that I am feeling so healthy. And I thought, what a curious remark that is. Feeling guilty that he has his good health. I'd celebrate it personally, but he felt a little guilty. Well, that kind of got me to thinking, what about guilt within the body and frame it within the coronavirus? I'm going to ask you to offer advice on a couple of different things I was thinking about. A lot of husbands and wives have not spent this much time together in a very, very, very long time. And they may be clashing just a little bit, a little more often, and maybe even romantically some of that has gone away. So let's start there with the guilt within the marriage during the coronavirus. What would you say about that?
Oh, I think, and I realize what you're saying because people have come to me about that. I think that guilt can offer some opportunities, more so than challenges, if you can be logical about it. I think what I'm trying to bring across is, why does guilt? Try to understand what's going on in yourself first. And maybe it's because you haven't done as good a job on your part in helping out where you could and doing the things that were expected of you. Well, now's the opportunity. Take that guilt and make it into something good. And so now is the opportunity to do those things that you have failed to do in the past as much as you can. Now, I'm not speaking about any clinical type illness here. I'm just speaking about plain ordinary guilt that people very often refer to as Italian guilt, Irish guilt, Jewish guilt, whatever the case might be. That's all I'm talking about. If it's clinically induced, I suspect you need, I think you do need to get some professional help. But otherwise, use it as an opportunity to see where you can better your life.
A lot of men and women that are home all day, maybe both are working and still trying to manage the best they can the activities with their kids. I mean, well, those kids could range in age from 18 down to 6 months, maybe even younger. There's a lot of stress in just having a child in a normal world, let alone put this on their plate. A COVID-19 virus, another reason to worry and another reason to feel guilty that you may be making mistakes along the way in the raising of your children and providing them with relief and comfort and all of the things necessary as they're growing up. You're confined in this space. It's been 10 weeks. Everybody's about to crack. Yet guilt starts to creep in, and that's another thing that you pancake on all of the other items that we have going on in our lives.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you, Ken. For example, if you feel this guilt because you have not been spending enough time with your wife or with your husband, maybe it's time to take a certain amount of time dedicated to listening. Listening is a very important thing. Often we don't know how to listen. I think it's important that we take that into consideration. Or, you know what? Let me take care of the baby for a while, and you do what you want to do and have to do. And this could come from either the husband or the wife. Or there are chores to be handled when you're dealing with a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old. You know what? Let me do that for a while. You just take care of anything else that you want to do. Can I help with taking things out, for example, the garbage out? Or is there something I can help with straightening out the house? And, there are areas of the house that we haven't cleaned in so long, thoroughly cleaned. Why don't we split up the job and you do your part, I'll do my part? So I think there's always ways that you could use that guilt as a source of opportunity to really make your own life better.
I was reading in this article, and I found this one interesting, this particular part where it says, it says to remind yourself, be self-compassionate. You might think harsh criticism will motivate you to do better, but speaking to yourself in an unkind manner is likely to backfire. When you think about it, marinate that one a little bit. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people have very low self-images, huh? And that's because of what you just said. We kind of look at all the bad sides and we do not look at any of the good part of our personalities, of our life, or whatever the case might be. We have to be nice to self, okay? I hate to be so trite in expressing it, but that's the only way I can think of it. In other words, we have to take time, and maybe what helps is writing your best attributes on one sheet of paper, and you write those faults on another sheet of paper. Very often you will find that the good outweighs the bad very easily. And then you could burn those 2 sheets of paper. They're not meant to be kept forever, but it can help you realize that you are a good person. You have faults, just like anybody else. We all have faults. Nobody is free of faults. I mean, you could start with the Pope himself, huh? Mm-hmm. I'm sure he has little idiosyncrasies that annoy everybody else, huh? And so that the same is true of you and me.
Yeah.
We have idiosyncrasy. We may think we're perfect, but the reality of the situation is maybe you and I are, but nobody else is. And so, no, but as sincerely and seriously taking into consideration the fact that when we do that little exercise of listing the good points, and there are many, and listing the faults, we will see that our good points do outweigh the bad points, and we should be happy with that.
Here's an interesting little takeaway as well. Monitor your self-talk. When you call yourself names, beat yourself up for mistakes, or try to talk yourself out of doing something difficult, pause for a moment. Ask, what would I say to a friend who said this to me? I found that interesting. Ask yourself what I would say to a friend who said that to me. It's a good way to work through something. Say you're feeling guilty about something, and a friend of yours said that to you, what advice would you give that person as a friend? That's the advice you should give to yourself.
How stupid can I be for telling you to do this and not that? Folks, we do that a lot. I think we do that a lot. Am I incompetent or what? Why can't I get this thing done? Instead of saying, we've come this far, it's a good thing, we don't have much farther to go, let's keep working at it. But instead, we use negative language, which then stays with us. It stays in the subconscious. I must really be stupid. I must really be incompetent. Not anything of the sort. The thing is this, that we use language so liberally that we mess things up within ourselves. Huh? And so we have to look at the positive side. We have to say, okay, this didn't go the right way, not the way I wanted it to go. Let's try this. Maybe this will. I think it's a matter of being positive about what you're doing at that specific time without trying to compensate what you think is compensating, which is damaging.
Yeah.
How stupid can I be? You don't want to say that.
Well, it's like, boy, you've mentioned you've hit so many buttons that relate to all of us, me included, obviously. I'm a self-punisher virtually each and... Why can't I figure this out? I mean, everybody else can figure it out. Why can't I figure it out? And you have to just kind of go, take a chill pill, Ken. Take a break. Take a nice, deep breath. It's all going to be okay. We can always come back to it tomorrow if you'd like, Ken. Would that be better? Yes, it would. Let's just go do something that we know we can do and do well and work with that for a while.
I think a lot of it boils down to comparing ourselves to somebody else. Nobody knows what's in the heart of somebody else. No one knows what's in the brain of somebody else. So for us to say, look at that guy, he can do everything. He can get his math work done and accomplish writing a book, and I can't even get this silly letter out. Yeah. Well, the thing is this.
Yeah.
You have talents, you have gifts that the other person doesn't have. And when we do that kind of thing of comparing ourselves to somebody else, we're forgetting our own gifts, our own talents, concentrating on something we don't even know about. We just see that person seems to shine while they walk down the hall, see? Or take, for example, the case of a woman who was looking at this other woman. She's always glamorous. Her hair is always done in the right way, and she always says the right thing. She is so sweet and gentle and so on. And here I am. I look like I'm dragging on my feet and so on and so forth. Well, if we only knew what's in the heart of that other person, what's in the mind of that other person, we wouldn't be as jealous about them. I always used to say, if you take it from a religious point of view, compare yourself to Christ, not to another person, because we don't know what that other person is all about. And if we are believers, we know who Christ is.
We've been in this ball jar, this house arrest, this self-quarantine with the lid on very tight, not as tight as it was. But people are getting, we knew this was going to come, Father Joe Grimaldi. We knew that there would be stages to this, and we knew at first it would be what it was, and that was rushing to the store, thinking only of the immediate now. I've got to have all the toilet paper I can get my hands on, all of the Clorox wipes I can get my hands on, all the hand sanitizer. Now it's masks. Now I got to get gloves. Where am I going to get all this stuff? I got to beat that guy. I got to beat this guy. I got to look at this person walking out of the store with 1,500 rolls of toilet paper. He can't possibly need that. That was stage one. All right. Then stage two was like, we're going to allow you to come in, but we're going to have to enforce. We've been through all the stages, and I don't have to remind people of that. But now we're into that 10-week period within this house arrest, And now we're starting to see what we thought and worried about back then, that eventually depression, guilt, and the side effects of the quarantine would start to kick in. Seeing depressing news reported each and every day, when it almost seems like they only want us to hear the bad news and not the good news, it's gotten so bad at the news media level that they have had to find room within the 30 minutes or that hour to have, and here's a good news story. Well, maybe you could do 45 minutes of good news and 15 of the real deal, because we kind of know what the real deal is by now. We know the drill. We know what it looks like. So that's just me pontificating. I apologize for that. But we knew that these branches were on this tree, and they're coming out now, and they're starting to blossom. And I'm worried about people and their emotions moving forward. What about you?
Yes, there is. And of course, when we speak about depression or we speak about bipolar sickness, we have to make sure that we know what we're talking about, because it could either be clinical or it could be what looks like depression to the ordinary common folks. Okay. Now, the thing is this: if it is something that isn't clinically challenging, or whatever way you want to use it.
Who I'm talking about, I think that 75% of the people listening to this program right now will say they are feeling episodic in terms of depression, guilt, feeling exhausted. They're self-punishing. I shouldn't have had that to eat. I should have been on that bicycle. I should have been going for a walk. Why did I do that? I know, leave me alone. Will you, Bob, please, not now. All of those little stress fractures are sitting in there right now. So I don't think it's clinical. I don't think it's something that's in the form of a disease. I just think it's an aftershock from this quarantine. And it concerns me, and I just wanted to talk about it.
Why does it concern you if it's not clinical?
Well, why would it be clinical? It wasn't there 10 weeks ago because I was leading a normal life. I was leaving the house, I was shopping, I was hugging, I was shaking hands, I was meeting friends, I was getting together for lunch, dinner, and breakfast.
Yeah, but I want to sit down by myself and say, look, you're living in a very nice house. You're getting all the food you need.
I agree.
You have a lot of free time. Maybe you could use a hobby to take up that time, whatever you want. And this is going to pass. So the thing is, we have to sit ourselves down and say, this is not the end. It's going to pass. And we're going to be able to get back to a more normal type of life in the future. Oh, we're going to be looking at each other through masks, but at least we'll be in a more normal situation. However, if the depression is heavy on you and that's all you can do, and you're finding yourself sleeping until noon, you're finding yourself where you have to be in your pajamas all day long,
Hey, time now, wait a minute. You can give a guy a break once in a while with the pajama bottoms, okay?
Well, to an extent.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, then the workout pants, let's put it that way. At least, I've got them on so I can eventually go work out. So I was making a lighthearted remark there.
No, I realize, but I think it gets to the point where you might have to call for help. Because if it is, those are the indicators, I'm told anyway. People will sleep endlessly or stay in bed endlessly, will refuse to get dressed in the morning because they just have nowhere to go mentally. And so they're staying in their pajamas all day. Well, there's something wrong with that, okay? One of the ways to go against that feeling or that syndrome, whatever you want to call it, is when you get up in the morning, get up, shower, shave, get dressed, face the day as a new day, and then go through the various obligatory things you have to do, non-obligatory things you have to do, and you accomplish them, you feel like you've done something. But if you're just going to sit around and just spend your days, you should call the doctor at that point.
I want to, just one more thing very quickly that I saw, and I just found it very, very interesting. It said, right now it's important to cut yourself some slack. You might need to let the kids play video games so you can get work done. You might let them eat less healthy snacks than usual because you aren't going to the store as often to buy fresh fruit. That can be okay.
Of course.
So, in other words,
Uh-huh.
I like that. Right now, it's important to cut yourself some slack.
What you just said to me is a normal situation. There's no question. Of course, we want to do things like, I really like the Snickers bar. I'm going to have another one of those. Well, big deal. Go ahead, have it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, get going in the morning. In other words, get up, get dressed, and face the day.
Okay, Coach. Okay, put me in. I'm ready to play. And I'll tell
You're
you,
on.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to borrow a line from the Reese's candy, and that is not sorry. All right, so there you go.
I like it.
All right, sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry.
Say a prayer for me, will you?
Yeah, I think today I'm going to end off with just the ordinary doxology. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be. Amen.
Amen.
This is Father Joe Grimaldi, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Father Joe Podcast.
We'd like to remind you to share the Father Joe podcast with your friends. You can reach Father Joe at frjoepodcast@gmail.com. And you can find us on Facebook or say, Alexa, play the Father Joe podcast. We look forward to seeing you next time.